We'll wait a little bit, see who trickles in here. Clearly, some of you may have noticed we hit 20,000 subscribers, and this is for the newcomers and the old comers. Couldn't be here without the old timers. Jesus, like me in my memory, the old timers who've been here since near day one, and all the new people that are joining on. Please check the description. I took, I don't know, an hour or two to put that together for a roadmap so people can understand what this channel is all about. I also want to thank San Joaquin, who's shared many of my videos in the past and recently shared the one that Pro Se University put out there. And I want to thank them as well for sharing this video and helping me get past 20,000. One thing that I want to point out here before we get into it, and this won't be too long, is I'm not an auditor. And this is not a dig at First Amendment auditors. I have plenty of First Amendment auditor friends, Press NH Now, Breaking the Flaw, and I love the work that they all do. I mean, I don't know everybody. Bay Area Transparency, he's like a cut above the rest. Long Island Audit as well. I mean, there's some great people doing some great work. What's up, Aussie Nathan? And so this is not a dig at First Amendment auditors or anything like that, but clearly if you read the description of my channel and the description of this video and watch some of my videos, you'll see that that's not really what I do. I'm not monetized. There are ways to support me, which are at the end of the description if anyone is interested, but I feel it's an ethical problem for me. If I was to monetize my channel, I'm not trying to be contracted with Google and beholden to them and then thinking, oh, I got a little paycheck, let me start going out and doing audits all the time. It's just not my thing. Again, nothing against anybody who does do that. It's great work and much needed. And it's done a lot of great in the world, and especially here in New Hampshire. I mean, it does work. The First Amendment auditing is a powerful practice. So, I got my bullet points here, so please forgive me. I mentioned in the description about some of the ongoing things that I have that are pretty big deals, taking up a lot of my time. The number one is the New Hampshire 9 case. 9 of us were arrested at an executive council meeting on October 13th, 2021. And I went to trial. I was the only one that went to trial. Everyone else had a lawyer. I had the same lawyer in the beginning, but I fired him. And, I went pro se and successfully defended myself. After that successful defense, they dropped all the charges against the remaining defendants. One woman was arrested for saying amen, uttering amen. And you got to go look at that New Hampshire 9 full context playlist and see people getting ripped out of their chairs, mothers being arrested holding their babies. It was complete. It was like Nazi Germany, is what one of the people who testified in my trial had said. And that case is now a 1983, 1985 conspiracy case in federal court. There's 2 of them. There's one that's myself and Kathleen Boussier. What's up, Kathleen, if you're watching? We are both pro se together. And then there's an attorney representing the remaining people that were arrested that day. We just don't like attorneys, as many of you watching this channel probably do not either. So That case, we filed our initial complaint. You can go back. It's one of the newer, more recent videos, and that complaint is in the description. They filed motions to dismiss, and so we filed our first amended complaint, which mooted their motions to dismiss, and now they are preparing new motions to dismiss in that case. Those are going to be due by June 16th. Okay? And I'll share that when that happens, and then I'll be working like all day, every day, with my responses and objections to that. So that case is ongoing and taking up a lot of my time. Another one that we've all been waiting for, and I will do a separate a video on this, is the filming in the federal court. And I was arrested with another gentleman for filming in the lobby of the federal court here in New Hampshire. We were found guilty. We appealed. The judge didn't engage with any of my arguments, particularly the jurisdiction arguments, and affirmed the case. So I just filed a motion for reconsideration on that and told them to, if they deny it, to take it as my notice of appeal for the First Circuit Court of Appeals. That's it's gonna be a nightmare. I already got the argument lined up and everything, so it shouldn't be too bad. It's just going to be traveling back and forth to Boston and, coming up with the fees and all of that. So I'm also, at my trial, I actually managed to get my phone in to the courtroom during my trial for filming in the lobby. And the witness in the case stole my phone out of my hand after I allegedly started recording in the courtroom, which was my goal the whole time. And so I'm going to be doing a follow-up in Manchester at the Federal Building, unannounced visit, to try to get something about what is going on with my phone, because I actually got charged 3 more times for filming in the federal courthouse, and all of those charges have been dropped. So it's really confusing. I was never arrested, never charged when they stole my phone. And, you guys can go see that in the playlists. It's pretty crazy. And another one that is super important, it's a side quest of mine, is the felon's gun rights. So I am a felon. I actually already did 6 years in prison for felon in possession of a firearm. And when I was charged with felon in possession of a firearm, I was in the law library digging through all the case law and statutes, etc. And I discovered a state law known as New Hampshire RSA 607A. Ultimately, this RSA gives you back all your civil rights unrestricted once you're released from incarceration in New Hampshire on state level felony offenses. So something that you need to understand is that felon is not a legally defined term. You will not find felon defined in the state or the federal code. And so the term that they use, the legal term, is thank you, sleep. This is a big deal. This is a very important situation. And so your rights are restored automatically upon release from incarceration here in New Hampshire. And when I brought this up to my lawyers, they said, we can't argue that. We're not going to argue that. They were public defenders. I had 2 public defenders on this case. And they said, we're just going to attack this guy's credibility. Long story short, at this stage of the game, over a decade later, I'm much more confident and well-versed in the law and representing myself in court. And so when I was running for governor, I ran for governor here in New Hampshire. I know. Crazy, right? So I ran for governor, and I went to the GOP annual full auto machine gun shoot. We have the most full auto machine guns per capita here in New Hampshire. Anyhow, I signed an affidavit saying that I'm not a prohibited person. What I did the day before I went to this event is I filed an affidavit that I wrote that was notarized and certified with a gold seal from the Secretary of State. And I filed that with the Secretary of State and the AG. And I said that this remains to be true, that I have my gun rights back until the AG or the Supreme Court says otherwise. Okay, and so this also goes hand in hand with the federal prohibited persons felon in possession statute 922G. So there's an exception to being a prohibited person, and that is if you've had your civil rights restored, you've been pardoned or expunged, unless the expungement, pardon, or restoration of civil rights explicitly prohibits firearms possession. In New Hampshire, it does not. Therefore, the feds do not consider you a prohibited person. And New Hampshire RSA 607A is titled the Uniform Act on Status of Convicted Persons. Okay? I get into that a few videos ago. I shared it down there in the comments or in the description for you guys to find it very easily. And I also took the liberty to include a copy of a law review that I wrote and a copy of the exact affidavit that I filed with the Secretary of State. So please go check that out. And stay tuned for what's going to happen with that. What's going to happen with that? I don't know. I've had plenty of police contact, and it doesn't seem like they want to challenge me on this issue in court. I've also testified on this before the Criminal Justice Committee or something at the State House, where there was a bill about felons' gun rights that came up, and I talked exclusively about this issue and these laws, and the legislators knew nothing about what I was talking about. They said, we're going to get the AG to put out some sort of, response to this, and it will be public. Never did. So silence speaks volumes in this case. There's people, and so lastly, I don't want to make this too long, but I do want to address, and I do want to say there's a ton of positive support. I love all the comments. I'm going to respond to everybody that I can. And, the longer your comment and the more substance to your comment, there's the higher chances that I'm going to respond to it. So, but I do try to respond to all the comments, even the haters. And yes, send me an email if anybody wants to contact me directly. I also have a private Telegram group. It's $5 a month. It's a way to show your support and have direct line of communication with me. It's a super group. It's got all kinds of sub chats, and I'm trying to fill that up. It would be very helpful to me if people would sign up for that. And there are some haters. The trolls, I am aware that there are like lawyer troll channels that try to pick stuff apart, and they've done that with some of my videos, but they seem to have turned crickets lately. There are people who think I'm a Mason. I'm not a Mason. For whatever reason, they see me folding my hands, like they're going to say this is a Mason symbol. And on the machine gun shoot particularly, I pinned the guy's comments saying that I'm CIA, which I thought was pretty funny and flattering that people would think I'm that important or, involved, or like, what am I doing? I live in my car right now. I sleep in the back of this station wagon, and I know. Imagine that, Brandon. Imagine that. It's really, really, really funny. The fact of the matter is, and it's not me saying this, people tell me this all the time, I got balls. I got big balls, and I got the brains to make them work. So that's basically it. I do what I want. I speak with my feet, and this is what I do. Please read the description. I break down how this channel started, the whole history of it all, and everything like that. My intention was never coming on YouTube and making money. That's one of the other reasons why I'm not monetized. So that's basically it. I'm gonna mess around here in the comments, so if you guys want to ask me any questions, shoot your questions into the chat now. Brandon Mitchell, what's good, brother? Been here. I mean, you're one of the old guard for sure. The attorneys play butt buddy with the DA and the judges. Absolutely. Nick Ole, I'm not sure. Sorry if I'm butchering your name. What's up, Nick? What's up, Mike? Sleep. And I appreciate Sleep recognizing the importance of the felons gun rights thing. And I hope you guys look into this in your area. Look at 922G and look at the exception 921A20. 921A20. And then find the corresponding state law governing restoration of civil rights in your state to determine the process and how it works. Because it's not the same in every state. Some states restrict certain rights, which make you still a prohibited person. New Hampshire is quite unique in that respect. Northwoods Press, what's up? Pinky in the Brain, some more. Pinky in the Brain and Northwoods Press are some long-time subscribers as well. Thank you guys for your support. You're always in on the lives. Pro Se American, I will check my emails right after I get off this. Thank you so much. And I believe Felon Pew Pew Rights is a great fight. Yeah, the Felons Pew Pew Rights is critical. The crazy thing is, I did 11 years in prison. I did 5 years in solitary confinement, straight. And I was actually held in solitary confinement for refusing to shave my beard on religious grounds. And I sued Pro Se, and I won my first 1983 case. The other one is my second one, and it's pending still. And so I won on the merits, my release. I did not win damages. They eventually got qualified immunity on the damages, but I did win my release on the merits that my parole was being denied for refusing to shave my beard, and I was being denied release into general population as well. So that's one of my claims to fame. And most people that have been to prison and that consider themselves felons, because I'm a felon still, but I have my gun rights because I'm not a prohibited person. You see how that works? So yes, I have felonies on my record, but annulment is for jobs purposes. When you annul something off your record, it's like it never happened. And so people can't talk about it, the media can't talk about it, the courts can't talk about it. It's like it never happened, but it has nothing to do with your civil rights restoration, right? So they want to make you think you have to pay to get these things off your record and to get your rights back here in New Hampshire, and that's just not how it works. Okay, and so that's one of the things, I got a lot on my plate with all these different things. Don't ask me why I did this. It's just one of those things where it's like, this might be a good opportunity to challenge this situation. Because my first felon in possession case, I never even had the gun on me. I got convicted at a trial from this guy saying that I held a gun months earlier that he got caught with in a locked box in his house. Okay. So me putting that video of me shooting 4 full auto machine guns is 100% control of a firearm and chargeable offense if they think they can get me, if they think I'm a prohibited person. Yes, I'm a felon, but I'm not a prohibited person. You see how it works? You got to know the magic words, and you got to know how these things interact. If you don't look up the definitions, the legal definitions, then you don't know what you're talking about. So, I'm not CIA. I'm not a Mason. I'm just some dude who believes and knows his rights. And I believe in freedom. And I'm willing to self-sacrifice, clearly, over and over and over again. I speak with my feet, and I won't stop. I'm defiant till I die. So check the link tree. Go follow my Facebook. Go get the Instagram and the X profile up on followers, and share my videos, watch my playlists, and take notes. Take notes. And email me if you have any questions about anything. I will try to help you as best I can, and point you in the right direction on any issues that you may or may not be having. So don't let them touch you. Bill of Rights, absolutely not. San Joaquin, what's up? Oh man, the legend in the chat. What's going on? I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for all the work you've done over the years, helping other channels blow up, and getting the word out there, and obviously sharing you're really responsible for me getting to 18,000 subscribers. You know, you shared, I forget what video it was, but there was one that you shared, and I mean, the floodgates opened, and I couldn't even respond to all those comments. It took me, I think it was over 2 years to get through all those comments, man. So I appreciate that. It was just a little side quest there, the ticket thing, you know. And I have 2 more ticket trials coming up. So one of them is going to be a similar situation. I was charged again for the inspection, not having an inspection, but I was also charged for the registration. I'll probably lose the registration thing. I'm not, you know, thinking I'm going to win, but I do have some new arguments to try on that. I will record that hearing, and I will reiterate the previous arguments about the inspection sticker. So we're gonna have a repeat on that one. And there's another more recent incident where I got pulled over. I got tickets for both again, and he towed my vehicle. This is the 5th time I've gotten a ticket for something like this, and this is the only guy that towed my vehicle. And he didn't tow and impound and do an inventory search and follow it and do all the paperwork. He made me pay to have my car hooked up on the back of the tow, and then let me drive away with the tow truck driver. The tow truck driver tells me, oh yeah, they told me that a driver got arrested and come pick up a vehicle for an arrested driver. And long story short, he drops me off 10 miles down the road. I hop in the car and I drive away. And so I asked for a hearing separate from whenever I'm going to go to trial. You can ask for a hearing within 15 days of a tow to dispute the reasonableness of the tow. And it's crazy because I call the court and they don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. And I eventually got through to Department of Safety and sent them an email, and they responded to me, what are you talking about? This RSA? And I'm like, no, this RSA. And they tried to say that I had to send it to the chief of police, even though the RSA says right to be heard in the court of competent jurisdiction, and the chief of police is the one who has to come defend the reasonableness of the tow. The chief called me back. I talked to him about the whole situation, so he's well aware. So he better be prepared for this hearing as well. And I'll be seeking to recover the $245 charge, because it's, even if it is an uninspected or unregistered vehicle, the maximum penalty in the fee schedule is a $100 fine. There's no provisions for towing a vehicle and impounding a vehicle unless it's abandoned and unregistered and a menace to traffic. So, those these little trials, traffic ticket things are me just kind of playing around, pushing the envelope and testing the boundaries and stuff like that. So, yeah, me going off on a little rant. Let me check that. See what's going on. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, you guys need to check out this. So I do want to, when I have all the time that I need to, I have some stuff that I plan on doing that is a cross comparison between the United States Constitution and state by state comparison with the state constitution, right? And how they interact with each other, so that people know the differences between the state constitution and the federal constitution, because it's different in every state. And there's got to be some sort of restoration of rights process in California regarding the firearms stuff and felons, prohibited persons, okay? Prohibited persons, 921A20 is the exception. So if your restoration process does not explicitly prohibit firearms possession, you're not a prohibited person. End of story. Boom, boom, boom. So again, thanks, San Joaquin. I appreciate all your support. Everybody else that's been here for years, and all the newcomers, go. You got a lot of homework to do. You guys been sleeping on my channel for too long. So at that, we're about a half hour, and I think it's a good time to sign off. Take it easy, everybody. What? Yes, traffic court is a good way to learn the rules. I know, I just said I'm going to stop the stream. Traffic court is a great way to learn the rules, demystify the experience, and get comfortable standing up there in front of other people in clown costumes. The cops, the judge, all of them, they're wearing clown costumes, and they should be treated as clowns when they act like clowns. I treat them with respect when they give me respect, but you got to also treat them as clowns when they act like clowns. 100%. So these type of things, little violations and misdemeanors, getting them intentionally, like going to the federal court lobby and filming in the federal court in accordance with US, CFR 102.74-420, which allows recording in the lobby of federal buildings. Things like that. Go get a ticket and you don't have to act crazy in there. You just get silent and refuse to stop. Let them arrest you and then go fight it in court. It's a great experience, but it's also good to have people that can help you through the process, share information, tips, and ideas, come up with line of questioning and a defense and all those type of things. And so that's why I want people to join my Telegram, support my work, etc., etc. So get in the lion's den, and you too can speak with your feet. Fuck around and find out. Signing off for real this time. All right. Boop, boop.